What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lone Ducks Gun Dog Chronicles. In studio with me today is my good friend Trish Jagoda.
And we're laughing already.
We're already laughing. We're in for a great episode. New studio. The last time you came in, it was a bit different.
Yes, it was.
Pretty cool.
It looked like somebody's extra bedroom.
Yeah, it was. It's because it was. Yeah, no, I'm super excited that you're here. You've had your summer trip. Before we get started, give a refresher if they haven't watched the previous episodes with you, where you're from, kennel name, and then, your role at AKC.
Well, I'm from Virginia, Fredericksburg, Virginia. Lived in Virginia mostly all my life. Was born in South Carolina. Dad's a Marine, came to Quantico, the whole thing like that. Went up through the school system there in Virginia, went to Virginia Commonwealth University, studied art, and that's a whole nother thing. My mother wanted to know when I'm going to get a real job on her deathbed.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I don't even live in Virginia anymore. We're here a couple months out of the, couple months out of the year, and then in South Carolina, 2-3 months out of the year.
Sure.
And travel around a lot, go to Master Nationals. We're getting ready to go cross country.
Yeah. Oregon this year.
Yep. So that's a lot of fun. The travel, not so much, but going out is a lot of fun. Coming back is murder.
Yeah, exactly. The going out, you're fired up.
You're exhausted coming back.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. I'm every week probably somebody says, when are you going to retire? And I love it so much I can't. When I stop qualifying, when my dogs don't look good, then maybe we'll start talking about it because I can't. I'm not physically able to do it anymore. But I'm 70 and I don't feel like it most times. Most times.
Yeah.
I wouldn't show you 70.
No, you don't. You don't look, act. I mean, you're great. You and Mary both keep up. Like, you guys are great.
We try.
Yeah. Not every 70-year-old could stand on their feet and bust ass all day long.
We try.
Yeah. Well, you do a great job. Well, in your role at AKC as an AKC rep, what does that mean to a new listener?
Wow. That's a confusing role sometimes even to myself. Russ, my boss at AKC, always says, watch out because you got that bullseye on your back.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to print us T-shirts. Say AKC on the front with a big bullseye on the back. So whether you have that AKC shirt on or not, people are always coming to ask me questions about, what about this test? What about what they're running here? And I've got a dog in the holding blind.
Right.
So I always like to say, hey, I'm not a rep if you see me with a dog today.
Right.
But when I am not running and working a test, then it is a different thing. And honestly, people, when I am at a test, they do realize that, I am pretty funny about the rules, the regulations, and want to see the rule book upheld, and whether I'm running dogs or not. So I kind of am in a rep role all the time.
Right. Your brain can't shut it off. Really.
No, it can't.
So let's preface the episode. So this episode is going to be an in-depth look at how to pass junior, senior, and master. Etiquette, rules, gray area rules, an explanation as if this is a judge's seminar, which you do a ton of across the country. So she teaches people how to become a judge for the AKC Hunt Tests, and then mix in our training advice. So these are the rules for junior. This is how we become successful. This is the rules for senior. This is how to become successful. And then also, again, I think etiquette is big, right? How to carry yourself at the test, how to dress, how to act, how to speak to the marshals and be in line at the right time, but not too early and not too late, to, all of the little fine details that will take the pressure off of you when it's your first junior, when it's your first senior, when it's your first master.
Yeah. Taking the pressure off is a hard thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But if you're prepared, you feel less pressure.
Yeah.
And so many junior people do not prepare the way they should. Now let's cut into a real gray area here where I almost wore my shirt. Pros, dogs, lives matter.
Yeah.
Now, being an AKC rep as well, I'm not this huge pro, I'm not on my soapbox, but I do know and recognize that pros, by and large, should be better at hunt tests than an average amateur.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs that I take to a junior event, I expect all 3 or 4 to pass. Same thing with senior, same thing with master.
Mm-hmm.
I was devastated this weekend. I lost a dog in junior. So we ran 3. I lost 1. The average amateur goes, they lose a dog, they don't think as much of it. They're disappointed, but maybe they're not as well prepared as I feel like I am. Again, though, I always tell people, what do you do for a living? And they'll say, oh, well, I'm a plumber. I'm a doctor. Well, I can't do what you do.
Right.
So I can't be as good in a plumbing competition as you are.
Right.
If you enter one with me.
Right.
So that's the thing to me. You've got to go out and do your research yourself. I started this, 1979, I started running dogs. That AKC Hunt Test program wasn't even here.
Right.
I had to figure out, there wasn't the Mike Lardy method.
Right.
Back then.
Yeah.
There weren't the Mike Lardy videos. And by the way, if you look at any of those old videos, it's the old times with the hair,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So look for me in there. That's shocking. But no, go back to the Lardy stuff. Great thoughts on how to bring dogs through. All of it is. If you follow a method,
mm-hmm.
you can mostly be successful.
Yeah.
But follow that method. My method isn't any better than your method, any better than Lardy's method. It's following it through and making sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that I see in junior people, mostly, which translates to senior and master, is that in training, junior people have collars on the dogs. They're too loose, mostly. Mm-hmm. They're hanging like this is.
Right.
Not quite this loose, and I'll walk over and say, okay, let's tighten this up a little bit. And these are just people that come to train with us here. That's number one. And then I say, do you use it? Well, yeah, I have my transmitter at the line. So I'm watching them. And in the seminar we just did at Finger Lakes 3 weeks ago or more, every one of them came out with a loose collar and the transmitter sitting on the table or in their hand. But I watched them go to the line. The dog's a fire-breathing dragon going to the line. I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the collar. First of all, the collar's on backwards. You can't see the light, whether it's going off or not.
Sure.
So we turn the collar around and I say, okay, as you're going up, what number? Decide on the number. And as they're way out in front of you here, give a slight nick. Why aren't you correcting in practice?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're correcting in practice, you're setting a tone for how you want to be in a hunt test. Mm-hmm. So this past weekend, I come out of the line, onto the line with my 3 junior dogs walking at heel.
Right.
No lead. Take it off, put it in my pocket, come out of there like I'm running senior or master, and walk to the line with my junior dog. Why? I've practiced it. I'm ready for that.
Right.
My obedience, way ahead of time, obedience and collar conditioning with me are paramount. People want to say, okay, can you force my dog for me? Sure. What kind of obedience and collar conditioning has it had to this point? Right. Then let's go back through that. And I usually see if the dog won't heel on the first time you say heel, won't hear, which is turn right, heel sharply, turn left, you should somewhat be able to dance with that dog. Yeah. If the dog is properly conditioned to the collar, which means understand how to act then once you get that reminder. It's like this pinch, Okay, that doesn't really hurt, but if I hold it down and keep holding it down, it hurts after a second or two. You have to do that. You don't just nick and then let them go off into oblivion.
Right.
So make a correction that the dog understands and can take with them here for a minute or two.
Mm-hmm.
They won't do that in training. It's paramount. You've got to do it. And we covered that. The seminar also went into how to collar condition this first-time dog so that you understand how those corrections matter in training and then why they translate to a hunt test.
Sure.
And
it's kind of like having a standard. Yeah, having your standard. This is my standard. I'm not going to waver that standard on known commands that I've taught, shown, preached, worked on, and then as the distraction level, the excitement level, the stakes get higher, it's going to come, the level of obedience is going to come down.
Yes.
That standard's going to lower to the dog.
If you don't make corrections.
Your standard shouldn't lower.
No.
Right.
And mine don't. We did a little segment on a very green dog at the seminar. And they said, okay, will you do it? Will you put the collar on it? And I thought, oh boy, here we go. Yep. Okay, everybody's camera's down. Because all that gets taken out of context.
Sure.
And that's why people are afraid to show this, because then it'll be on Facebook tomorrow night. Look what she did to a dog in a seminar. And it's just not taken out of context. Anything is dangerous. So that's when we said, look, guys, just if it's your dog, maybe, okay. But other than that, we don't want any of this videoed. But I just took a green dog, put a training collar on it, a long 6-foot leash, held the leash tight. And I told all of them, there's a batter's box that follows you. It's Velcroed to your left leg, well, or right, depending. And I said, let's just walk this dog around. Somebody take another dog, walk it around, get in my way. And every time the dog went to pull on the leash and get outside the batter's box, I watched it just like an electric fence. Nick, heel. It came back in. It came back in because I pulled it in. We kept walking, got to the batter's box. Nick came back in. Finally, this dog was able to walk all the way around us. And every time that dog got to the batter's box, I said heel. Then I never needed to nick it anymore. Yeah. Because of the consistency in 5 minutes?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So if you establish that in 5 minutes, then keep up with it for the rest of their life. They don't know any different.
Right.
And this is at home too, people. At home.
Right.
Worse, in your car. Dogs sit in their car and bark. Why do you allow it? Can't have an electric collar on at a hunt test? There are more people that do for bark mode than you know. The trucks that are quiet, they're probably on bark mode or just on the dog, and the dogs know better, so they don't bark.
Let me ask you that. Yeah, I know that we're not supposed to have training e-collars. Like if you're airing your dog, it can't have one on, etc. A bark collar, it's not attached to your transmitter. Like Tritronics has the bark eliminator function, but just a regular bark collar. Does that still apply technically?
Technically, it does.
Okay.
I don't know of anybody. Okay, this.
Well, then allegedly, I may have broken this.
This is Trish saying this.
Yeah.
So this is where the sort of bullseye on my back is going to come in.
Okay.
Because Trish said this on Bob's podcast.
Yeah.
But what you don't see keeps your dog quiet. On an occasion when we're at Cooper Black and I forget because I've had it on the dog overnight, I'll go to the test and it might still be on a certain dog that tends to have a big mouth. I might have forgotten to take it off.
Yeah.
And then that dog is quiet for the rest of the day.
Right.
And I just don't take the dog out with the collar on. You have to be careful.
Sure.
What you do.
I think it really, this is
consistency.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
There's two things. One, I find it to be extremely unprofessional to be the guy or gal that rides down the bumpy road and you've got 18 suckers sounding off like they're out rabbit hunting. So that's my one point.
Yes.
The second point, I don't think it's good for the dog. I think if a dog lives in a brain space of and they're just spinning and going bananas, barking like crazy at each other, just bouncing down the road, I don't think that is a healthy mind frame for a dog to live in.
It's like a bar fight.
Yeah, it's bananas.
Okay, you look at yourself. I don't know how many bar fights you've been in, but if you've been around a bar fight, Owens,
I used to break them up.
I'm
I was
sure in
oh,
Ireland you
Oh, yeah.
no, but if you've been around something like that where it's high anxiety, what happens to your blood pressure?
Oh, yeah.
What happens to everything? You're sweating, you're out of it. You're not able to focus on anything but just continuing on with barking, and every noise that happens, you're barking, you're going off. If you can stop that, then the dogs have the ability to listen
Yeah.
and to understand what you're trying to say.
And relax.
They can't even hear you if they're carrying on and
Yeah.
out of control.
Yeah. Well, all right. All right. Shall we get into the junior
Okay.
hunt test, AKC junior hunt test? This segment is for you. So if you've never been to one or have and are, hit or miss on your success rate, this is going to be a great segment to really focus in on. So let's talk about the actual test, what they're going to see first.
Okay, in junior, you're going to see 2 marks. Usually they start on land because of a time factor and available property, etc. But in junior, you'll see 2 marks, reasonable distances. You can go to 100 yards, but rarely do you see a junior mark that long.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually in cover that is easier to see the bird, run through, get the bird. Here, you're not testing higher levels. You want to see, does the dog want this? Does he have reasonable control at the line to sit there and focus, like we were talking about the barking? If they're barking and carrying on and pulling and on 2 legs and you're having to hold the dog up and he's looking at you like this right next to your head, he's not paying attention. So if they're sitting, paying attention, they can look out, they can see that 1 mark on land and pay attention to the cover in front, how to maneuver that, to go through it, and to actually want to do it. Out of control means they're only putting a certain percentage of their brain power into what you want them to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the control now, that's what everybody's going to say. Sure, I want mine to be under control. How do you do that? It's the training in advance.
Right.
Be willing to use your collar, and then the dog doesn't think anything about having the collar on. When we send dogs home from obedience, we tell them, this collar needs to stay on from the time the dog comes out of the crate to the time it goes back into the crate that night, or whoever puts it up in what fashion, if you keep it in a mud room or whatever. Now, if you have a barker overnight, the collar stays on the dog, so it doesn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
You stop it. So the same thing in hunt tests, you're going to stop the dog from having those reactions by training, go and train so that you can set up a similar psyche. The dog is excited and wanting to go. Get the correction. Then they see you can get corrections.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key to it. Don't just sit there and live with whatever you get and then pull on him. And in the holding blind, you're correcting him and he's barking and carrying on and the judges are looking at you. It shows me that you haven't done your work before that.
Right.
And junior, people want to run junior. They don't know that much about it. So they take sometimes a breed dog. They'll take their breed dog and say he loves to retrieve a ball in the yard. So let's try this.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. The more the merrier. I love them. But get with somebody first, a friend. Go to a club. If you don't want to go to a pro, join a club.
Right.
And get in there and do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Let them teach you there.
Yeah. So we've got 2 singles on land. Oh, let's even break it down a little more.
Okay.
holding blinds. You're going to have multiple staging areas called a holding blind and there's going to be a marshal there. So a man or woman is going to be in charge of keeping the line moving.
Yep.
And they're going to have the running order of dog 1 through 10. And they're going to say, all right, dog 1's at the line, 2's in the holding blind, 3 get ready, 4 get ready. So if you're dog number 4, hey, it's going to take that dog 5 minutes, that dog 5 minutes,
Yep.
that dog 5 minutes. All right, I got 15 minutes and I need to be at the line. So I better go start airing my pup. Now, the etiquette kind of...
What does that mean, though? Airing.
Let them go potty.
But what really does that mean? Control. You're at a test.
Yeah.
And just you saying that brought up something that I think is so important for that amateur, for anybody that doesn't understand what that really means. Don't open the box and have the dog take off running. Then you don't have the lead on him yet. It's running all around. In some cases, takes off and runs over into the test or over near it, and somebody has to grab it.
Yep.
Why does that dog not listen on the line? It doesn't even listen at your car.
Right. Yeah, great point.
That's the key to it.
Great point.
Gain the control before the dog even gets out of your car.
Yeah.
So when I said, what's airing?
Yeah.
Airing isn't just letting them go to the bathroom. It's another chance at training.
Yeah. Which is a caveat. You're not allowed to train at the test. But to her point, everything still is training. And I just did air quotes for just the listeners.
Life.
Yeah.
Life with the dog.
So when you open the crate, they wait. When you put the leash on, they jump down, they sit down. Then you walk a little bit at heel, and then you let them go to the end of the leash and go to the bathroom, or a flexi lead. Let them go to the bathroom, call them to you. Here, he'll sit. Good. All right, go potty again. So you're not doing obedience heel work.
Right.
You're not able to train and do like a couple bumpers and fetch and walking. You're not allowed to do that at the test grounds. But you can still adhere to your standard even during that segment.
And something I would highly suggest, and don't just say Trish got on the podcast and said, go throw your dog bumpers on the property. This is not what I mean. If you see me behind my truck, I take a bumper like a shot put, so it doesn't even look like I'm taking it by the rope and throwing it and making the dog sit. I do what I call a hey. Anytime a dog of mine hears hey, they're going to break, because that means here comes a fun bumper for you. Mm-hmm. So I'll just sit them next to me and just go, hey, toss it like this, let them go get it, warm them up. And something I learned years ago, do this airing that Bob is talking about before you run. Get control, burn off just the top little bit of steam. Let that go on your dog just a touch before you go to the line. And just throwing a couple bumpers, letting the dog get out and smell the same air that he's smelling at the line, not in your box. All of this, let them see light, let them be out. It teaches them to calm down before they go and run.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a great point.
Yep.
So
then you get to the line.
Yep. So you're going to go through your staging area. One of the big things with Junior, that's a pet peeve of mine, of the marshals and the excitement of the people running it, is there'll be 10 dogs lined up in the heat.
Mostly in junior.
And it's only in junior. Mm-hmm. By senior, they've figured it out. Mm-hmm. But they'll have 10 dogs out yanking the owner around. And we don't have to get into the obedience part again. But the point is, that dog is just climbing in excitement, hearing gunshots and duck calls and all that. And the anticipation and excitement and anxiousness to go do their job is rising. And what ends up happening is you're standing in the heat for 35 minutes. And in essence, your dog is toast now. Yep. Tongue's hanging out. They're spun up. You've started to lose control. So take your time. Don't be in a rush to be out in, the holding blinds and then be told, oh, you're not up yet. Just be prepared to not have that be your scenario.
And there's another really good point here. If you take them out 5 times because you got nothing else to do,
sure,
5 times before you're due to run, then the dog never knows that you're just getting them out to go to the line.
Great point.
So if you have help, which we usually take 12 or more to a hunt test, I have to have help. Pros have to have help if they have 12 or more dogs, at least a client that's there helping you air and
Is that
things
a
like
rule?
that. It's a suggestion.
Okay.
And really, if you have that many, there should be somebody with you that's helping you for, what if you have a dog that poops in the box and you're running dogs? Somebody should care for dogs. So everybody has their own way of doing it, but the AKC feels that you can't properly take good care of more than 12 dogs at a hunt test while you're running dogs.
I got you.
I do understand that. Dogs pee in their boxes. They've got to go. I've got to go, not at scripted times, right? Anybody that knows me knows that.
Sure, I feel you. I feel you.
The older you get, you're going to be more like that.
I hear it.
But getting the dog out a few times, then putting him back, the dog never knows when you're getting them out.
Right.
Then they're not getting their blood pressure up. It's another really good thing to do. And
You're all right.
each time you get them out, what you're doing is having that dog understand that he is just getting out.
Another minute in the
Right.
in the day in the life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point that, every time I pull a dog out to train, it's their go time.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
So that's their routine. A plus B equals C. A, Bob opens the door. B, we walk to the line. C, I get ducks. And so, yes, they're excited.
What's the difference in you doing that? You're going to correct.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The average person doesn't. They get their dog out one time, go to the line. The dog's out of control for that reason. If you get them out 2-3 times before they run, or your helper does, then what happens is you get a couple little snatches. I don't call that training. I just call it management.
Yeah.
All right. Manage the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody seems to do that in the junior level.
Sure.
Manage the dog, and then you're not going to have a dog in the holding blind, under it, yanking it up out of the ground, barking, carrying on.
Right.
If you're barking in the holding blind, you haven't done your job.
Yeah. Let's talk about real quick the whole game is, would we want to hunt with this dog? So back to your control and obedience and structure and all that. If the dog is barking, if the dog is bouncing off the wall, if it can't sit relatively still, it doesn't have to be perfectly steady at junior, but it's got to show some composure during the work. That's a dog we'd want to hunt with. If it's doing the opposite, barking, pulling, yanking, bouncing, that's not a dog we would want to hunt with, and that is liable to get a failure.
It is. And the other thing that I hear people say a lot is, yeah, but he doesn't do this when he hunts. Well, why? Because you hunt him with a collar on? Well, sure. Okay. But then you're here and you haven't maintained that same discipline level all the time. So when you take the collar off, you're turning your dog into collar wise.
Mm-hmm.
You're making him collar wise by not getting the corrections on a regular basis that you should. And you really have to hear this because it equates to how they do in a hunt test.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, well, I get enough. You don't. You're not getting enough correction. It should be literally for everything that dog does at home. It's not like taking your kid and putting him in the corner when they're bad. Kids can then rationalize, well, if I do it again, they take my cell phone. Dogs have to be managed in the minute that they're in.
All right. Mm-hmm.
So manage them all the way up there. And what I do is talk to them. I had a dog that was borderline out of control. I still was able, for me, out of control, still was able to walk her to the line in junior off lead, but I had to say heel 4 times. Holy cow.
Right. Yeah.
For me, that's like, I just wanted to choke the dog before I got and that was Cafe for anybody that knows her, but she tends to be that way.
Right.
That's a litter mate to your little dog.
Oh, Tiller.
Yeah. So they have a lot of drive. So you have to manage them extra special in training so that that dog understands it.
Sure.
But walking to the line is also the same thing. Do it in a way that you do in training. Don't get real loud in training and do a lot of other things. And then at the hunt test, you turn into a little church mouse.
Sure.
You have to be consistent all the way around.
Sure. So we're on land. We're up to the line. We did all our things. We did our airing a couple times. We walked through. We didn't let the marshal rush us. We didn't get in line with 30 dogs. It is our turn. We're in the holding blind. What's going to happen from a judge talking to them getting to the line to calling for birds? Walk them through it.
Well, first thing you should do is use the opportunity to be in the holding blind to watch the dogs that are running before you. Don't just sit there and look at your dog, not pay attention to what's going on around you. Watch what the marshals are telling people. Know if you weren't there for the scenario, which if you're a junior handler only, you should be there for the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You really should. You learn what the judges want so that you can be a better handler and your dog can be better for judgment. This is a lot like a horse show. Judges that dog by what they see. Is it clean? Does it have mud all over the side of it? Are its ears and eyes looking infected? Did you even wipe the dog's eyes out before it went to the line? All of those things. Then you're in the holding blind. You're watching the dogs run. Where did that dog go 2 dogs in front of you? It went off to the left into the cover and then came back around and got the bird. You have to know what way the wind is blowing.
Mm-hmm.
If the wind is blowing right to left and your bird is being thrown left to right, you think about what side of the bird the dog needs to go in on to maximize its ability to find it.
Mm-hmm.
So in that scenario, you would want that dog to enter that area of the fall on the left side of the bird because your wind is coming this way. Your dog is on the left side of the bird is where the microphone is. If the wind comes in, the dog's hunting, he finds it and comes in.
Right.
If the dog is way out here, you know that your dog has to get in there and hunt, so you need to watch him a little better.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets around the back, then think, okay, I'm going to leave him there a minute, let him hunt. He's going to come in and find the bird.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things, somebody told me the other day, I never paid any attention to which way the wind was blowing. I was shocked because the first thing I do is stand in the last holding blind as I'm coming out, grab a little piece of grass or something and throw it up in front of me and watch it fall, okay, right to left. Then I know what's the best way to send my dog. In junior even too.
Mm-hmm.
You can tweak them just a little bit. If dogs are having a hard time finding a bird, tweak them a little bit so they're downwind of the bird, therefore able to wind it and find the bird better.
Mm-hmm.
Handlers make the biggest difference in whether a dog is lined up right, whether it's paying attention. You can hold that collar with your hand. If you do, put the whole collar in your hand. It's a wider surface. That way the dog can't be all over here like this. You're holding him steady with a bigger surface, not just your finger.
Mm-hmm.
All of these little tips of keeping them in control. When you have them by the collar and you're standing up there, hold it tight. Not meaning for the dog not to get away from you. That is one point. But if you tighten up on that collar and just give it a little touch of a twist, the dog knows that you have a threatening hold on them without even having to do anything.
Right.
You're communicating that. Therefore, the dog starts with that same thing again. It's like a Zen thing. You calm them down because they know there could be a consequence.
Right. It takes an edge off.
Mm-hmm.
Takes the edge off.
Yep.
So we're going to walk up. In junior, she said she did it off lead. You have the choice. I would recommend on lead.
Don't do it. Yep.
Yep. Be on lead. You're going to heel them up to the line. You have to put your leash. So what I do, this is my pro tip, I hold the collar, then unsnap the lead. And then I'll wind that leash up, and the leash has to be hidden from the dog.
Yep.
It can't be used as a quote-unquote training tool, so it has to be completely hidden. So all the way in your pocket, or some judges will let you toss it behind you. But I've got control of the dog in the one hand, so I don't let go unsnap, and then it bounces up and runs
Correct.
around like an idiot. I'm holding on, unsnap, wind the leash up, put it in my pocket. I'm going to already have set myself up for success on mark 1 by being already lined up for it.
And you can even use your body. If there's 2 holding blinds there and the dog's going to go for the left one, there's guys standing up in this one, then move your body over a little bit, block it. Nobody says where you have to stand. It's not an honor where the dog has to see all the marks. So block off that mark.
Right.
And hold the dog a little bit further back and let your body be a wall. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can do that.
Yep. So then basically now it's go time. I'm lined up properly towards the first mark. I'm holding the dog under control. I can tell them sit. I can tell them sit 5 times if I want to. As soon as I wave my hand to the judge, now this is my question for the rules, because some of the junior rules have changed where you can now touch the dog and whatnot. Can you talk to the dog in junior after you call for the bird, or is it still silence?
So people call it the new junior rule. While I'm talking, I'm going to find this so that people can see what the link looks like. It's a 2023 rule, which makes me snicker, right? Because it's the new junior rule. Why people don't know this that have been to judging seminars. So if you haven't been to a seminar in 4 years, you don't know about this. As a judge, go to a seminar or go on Google and search for AKC Hunt Test Regulation changes. It will come up, and it will be a thing that you can click on. Can this be seen well?
We'll have our editor.
Okay.
He'll probably just pull it up while you're talking.
All right. So you can do that. And if you can see that, there are little blue lines there that you can touch on any of them. One of them is talking to dog in junior. And you click it, there's a letter. Now, talking to dogs in junior means any time, anywhere. Okay?
So even after you call for the bird, now we can talk?
I can steady my dog. I can talk to it for reassurance. If I want to give them a big old kiss on the lips,
they're cool with it.
I can do that.
That's awesome. I love that.
And it says at any time.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
A lot of judges will not allow you, once you say sit, throw your hand up, say you're ready. If they're doing their paddle like this behind you or whatever, the radio, and you go, it's okay, sit. Some judges will tell you can't do that. That is absolutely wrong.
Right.
As long as you're not threatening.
Right. Sit.
Yes.
That would be a no-no.
No. That's all threatening.
Right.
Okay, but no, come on now. Mommy said no.
Yeah, sit. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can touch the dog and we can talk to the dog softly in junior, even after you call for the bird. And what calling for the bird is, you're signaling to the judge that you and your dog are ready, aimed, ready to rock. They're going to then signal to the winger station to launch the first mark. It hits the ground. They're then going to release you on either the word dog or your number. So number 4. Now
you may use the word dog in AKC regulations.
What do you mean?
Dog, to release the dog.
Oh, right. Yeah.
As a judge.
Yeah. Dog or their number.
Yeah. Unless your dog's name is dog. Then you release your dog on dog.
And at that point, you are now back in charge, and you can do pretty much whatever you want except make a quote unquote correction.
Yeah.
So typically what I would do, again, to set this young dog up for success, is to reaffirm my sit. Good. Sophie.
Yep. Again, back to training.
Right.
All right. In training with a junior dog, I will always count to 6. Why 6? I don't know. 6. It seemed like a good amount of time to make the dog understand that they will be steady well after the mark hits the ground. So, you can envision it. Bird goes out, hits the ground. In a hunt test, soon as the judge says dog, I'm sending. But in training, I'm counting in my mind 1006 because that dog cannot think in training that it's just going to take off like you do in a hunt test.
Right.
And even in a hunt test, if he thinks he can't go, nobody can tell you you have to send that dog just that second that the judge tells you can go.
Yeah, you're in control at that point.
You paid your money. Some judges will tell you that. You paid your money. This is your time.
Yeah.
There's no clock on you at all.
Correct. So now dog goes out there, puts on a little hunt, gets its bird, comes back to you. It has to deliver to hand. It doesn't mean here, heel, sit, perfection like I expect mine to do, or maybe you, the listener, expect yours to do.
Yeah.
But it has to deliver to hand. It cannot drop the bird and you pick it up off the ground. It has to be in your hand. So, I mean, to me, force fetch is imperative before you go run a junior test.
At least teach hold.
Yeah. Plenty of bird experience, real bird experience, so that a soggy bird, a stinky bird, a little bit of fly action, whatever it is, there's no bones about it. It's well versed in grabbing a duck and bringing it back and delivering to hand.
Yep.
One thing that I will see often at a junior test is regripping and dropping it at the feet, and then like putting its mouth on it, backing up, putting its mouth on it, backing up, putting its mouth on it, backing up, unsure of what to do. Now, as a trainer, that's going to tell me, boy, I better go back to work.
Not finished forcing.
Right. I'm going back to work to fix that. But number two, I can still pass.
Mm-hmm.
So if that happens, my advice is you take 2 or 3 steps away from the dog, fetch here. Fetch here. Or
worst thing you can do is stand over the dog at that point.
And stay stagnant. Now, if you're your friend Brenda, she would say, take it.
Yeah, Brenda, take it, take it.
Take it, take it. I've got a story
Except
post-podcast.
When she says take it, they do it. Let me tell you.
Good. I believe it. I've got a story for you after the show.
Yeah.
Anywho, so you create distance from the dog. That's going to instinctually make them want to retrieve it and bring it to you. If you stand like a totem pole and your nerves get the best of you and you are stagnant, that dog's going to continue going head down, head up, head down, head up. You create movement. It's going to pull that dog with the duck towards you. And then you do the old junior scoop, grab that bad boy and rock and roll.
Yep. If you can get that bird with the dog coming into you, why don't you take the bird from the dog at that time?
Right.
Here's for you handlers. Take it. Take the bird when you can.
I love it.
Why does it have to be this dog show where the dog comes in and heels and then goes, Pih. And then you go, take it.
Yeah.
And they don't do it. So another little tip back from the regulation new change of 2023, as that dog comes back into you, as soon as he comes in your space, like that, batter's box thing, just take a hold of the collar lightly.
Right.
Okay. There's not any pulling around. Take a hold of the collar by that one hand, bring the dog around and steady it. And as he's coming around, put your hand under there.
Sure.
If it drops it, guess what? It's in your hand.
Yep.
So it dropped it in your hand.
Yep.
Okay. That's
perfect.
Giving you the bird. Okay. Come around, sit, take your bird. Then you've got the bird. And the second thing you have is the dog.
Exactly.
And the dog is steady at your side, in control.
Yep.
Or in better control than it would be if you didn't take a hold of the collar.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice. In junior, I feel extremely competent that mine are going to hear, heel, and sit like they have been taught. So I do it. I take the bird, and as I'm taking the bird, I grab that collar. Because then I am not confident that they won't go, boing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they will.
100%. So I will immediately grab the collar as soon as I get the duck, and then I'm immediately lining them up for bird 2.
Yep. And a lot of times I'm accepting the bird 1 in line with bird 2.
Correct.
Because, again, you have a dog that's starting to go through competition, and They're not listening as good as they could. We've already established
Sure.
that. And so if your first bird is here and your second bird is here, if you're already facing this way when the dog comes back, you're also opening your body up. You can grab that dog, bring him around over here and let him come in like this, sit, take the bird, or take the bird, then sit, get the bird. I can't stress that enough.
Right.
And then he's already ready out here, and you're not trying to get a crazy, alligator lined up over here for the second bird. You've already done it.
Now, what's the rule on live flyers in junior?
Meaning, are they allowed?
Well, I know that they're allowed. I mean, is it a shall, must?
Can.
Most often, I think I can count on one hand how many junior tests I have ran that didn't have a flyer. So it's a most often.
Why this is so, I don't know. Maybe bigger entries, but down south, I tend to see less live flyers.
Okay, wow.
And it's probably because down, the Cooper River test, just before we go home, end of May, we could have 45, 48 junior dogs.
Nice.
And the rule of thumb is master gunners are going to be your good gunners. Hey, Bob, can you come shoot for master? Billy Bob is shooting usually for junior. It should almost be the other way around, because a junior dog that hasn't had a lot of experience with flyers is going to have a little more
trouble
issues with maybe a bird flapping or running around the field. Okay. Yeah. They shouldn't, but
they do.
They do.
Yeah. So that brings me to my piece of advice. The junior test / its first hunting season shouldn't be the first time it encounters a wounded bird, a shackled bird, a crippled bird, a duck that's head up, quacking and walking around. You need to expose them to that pre-hunt test, pre-hunting season.
How are you going to do that, though?
Well, you've got to join a retriever club.
Or go pay a pro for a day training.
Right.
A lot of times, I know me, I can't answer for you, but I think I know, I've trained with you enough. If somebody wants to come and train, great. Pay me for my duck and a couple bucks for my kids, and then go out in one of the stations for a rotation and give me a hand. And then I don't feel like you're there just adding to my day.
Yeah.
Go and offer help. Go to a club and pay for a flyer, join the club, and get birds that are live.
Yeah. It's imperative. You can't have a hunting dog if they haven't had real birds and live birds, and you're potentially opening yourself up for a failing because it hasn't had one that's been crippled flopping around or walking around. So
I don't live in a housing development, neither do you. I pulled up here, there's bird crates sitting out here, no birds in them, but I mean, I know that he has live birds here, or has, and you don't do that if you live in a townhouse.
True.
But get creative and find ways to get live birds. Buy one from a hunt test.
Right.
Take it with you overnight in your
a little wire crate or whatever.
Or something.
Yeah.
And then go out that next day. You can hood them, which means put a little sock over it with a rubber band around its neck. You're not killing the bird. And my sister-in-law, Jack's wife, used to have a dog, I think her name was Daffy, that lived its whole life. It trained puppies.
A duck?
A duck. And it was a nasty thing.
I love that.
Because these puppies would pick it up and carry it around all over the place. Mm-hmm. But their dogs were socialized to live birds.
Right.
And Daffy was wing clipped, and she lived her whole life there, never died, and died in the pen one day of old age. I don't know how old.
Rest in peace, Daffy.
Yeah, so you can...
You can figure it out. Find a way to win.
Find it out.
Find a way to win. I don't care. If you don't have these things, you're just making excuses. We just gave you a bunch of different things.
This is me on my T-shirts, the back of my T-shirts. You must know.
Yep.
Because people make fun of me all the time. Here comes Train to Win.
Right.
Well, no kidding. I'm serious about that. I train the same way that I run a hunt test. If I don't come home with, this weekend, we had 7 out of 8 master dogs pass.
Good.
My own dog broke the first
No
series in
way.
Master. Okay. But I brought home the ribbons for all my clients.
Good
That's all I
job.
care about because I don't have to
I don't
call
think
myself.
I have never seen a dog of yours break.
No,
And
well,
I've known you a long time.
it was chocolate.
Well, there
Sorry,
you
chocolate
go.
people.
Yep, there
I
you go.
own 2 chocolates, so I can talk about them.
That's hilarious.
But my black dog in a brown body got his Master Hunter title this weekend, Tango. So proud of him, that little
Nice.
guy. So I did have a chocolate qualify.
Good for you.
Yep. It's all in training. It's not just about chocolates, guys. And me, okay, I can say it. I'm the fathead queen. I get it. People call me that. But if you can train an English dog, I affectionately call them fatheads. If you can train an English dog that wasn't bred particularly to do this, you can train a fathead.
Yeah, you can do anything.
You can train a chocolate. You just have to stick with your program.
Yeah. All right. So junior, let's wrap it up with junior. We got to kind of hustle through senior and master, but
And
I do feel like this was the biggest where most people struggle is getting into the game, and that's your junior. And so I wanted to really hone that.
Yep.
So
Give
obedience.
your dog water before you take it to the line.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yep.
Because this weekend, a guy in junior, the dog went 10 feet out, went under, must have gotten some water in its mouth. And the guy had just taken him out nervous or didn't have water with him or something. The dog drank the pond.
Yeah.
And then forgot about where the bird was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So think through all this. Would you want to sit in a car in a crate with no water all day?
Well, yeah, that's just bad. But that's a great. So I'll let mine out. They'll go potty. I'll put them back in the box, give them a little bowl of water so that the other thing, that moisture on their tongue helps with their smelling ability, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So after land, you're going to have a flyer, most likely. You're doing a single, another single. Then if you pass, you go to water, a single. They have to be acclimated to decoys, blah, blah, blah. You win. You get your ribbon. Beautiful. You need 4 passes to get your junior title. Now you're moving on to senior.
Okay, one more thing about junior, because I know you want to get through this. Go buy some silhouettes. You can buy cheap silhouettes. Go cut some out of wood and put a stick on them if you have to. A
decoy silhouette.
Yeah, anything to get the dog used to things in the field.
Yep.
Or go put a bunch of things in the field. If all you have is boxes, go to the grocery store, get some boxes, put them out in the field. If you're really that raw, put some sticks through them. Anything that you can think of to have a diversion for that dog in the field. That way they'll run through boxes. They'll run through decoys, anything, coolers sitting out in the field, chairs, anything like that. Desensitize your dog to things that are out there. That's a huge help because a lot of dogs will run over to decoys, not know what they are. And God forbid, we even this year, not in a test, but in training, had a young dog that had never seen a decoy before, just got out of forcing, go get the decoy and bring it back.
Sure.
So you have to teach that. And again, those are all the things that you have to do before you get to a test, people.
Yeah, great point. Great point.
And then that transfers over to senior, which you take all of those things that you teach in junior, add them to the senior, then add the other senior disciplines that they want you to be proficient in.
Right.
Which is multiple marking.
Yep. So you're going to, again, typically it's going to be on land first. You're going to you need a walk up.
Yep.
So a walk up is now you have no flat collar on. You have to have the leash off when you walk to the line. So you have either a choke chain or a slip lead. They say dog to the line. You put that sucker in your back pocket and hide it, just like junior. And you heel the dog nicely to the line. And the walk-up bird is at heel. The judge is going to wave their arm and bang, off goes a bird. And you can either say sit or you can blow a whistle, but you can't do both and you can't do it more than once.
Right. One time. Sit or whistle. And the other thing is, too, what we were talking about in junior, walking to the line without a lead or walking with a loose lead. It's prep for your next level.
Right.
Run a dog that is almost ready to run your next level at the level below.
Right.
So that you're not weirding this dog out when it's coming out, flipping out because he's never seen any of this stuff before.
Yeah. Train above. So I always say over prepare, you're underwhelmed. If you're over prepared, you're underwhelmed. So if you're almost ready for senior, run junior. If you're almost ready for master, run senior. And then you better be over prepared and crush bigger things. Then when you go to a master test, nothing will phase you or your dog.
Yep. My senior dogs run master setups.
Yep. Same.
When they're running senior, competing in senior, I give them doubles, but I give them that third bird as a single. So they're used to seeing more in the field. Okay. You have to groom them or school them for the next level.
Yeah.
Walk up, as you were saying, has to be done off lead. Therefore, you want the walk up in junior to be non-eventful if you can, so that, let's say this is your last pass in junior. The next thing you have to do is go to do that if you're going to go up.
Right.
So do it before you get there.
Yep. So you're going to have a walk up, you're going to have to honor, and they can do either of those at either water or land. I'm going to say 90% you're going to get your walk up on land, and then the honor, I don't know, the honor is on land or water. It's
hard as a judge to put in all the factors in your first series.
Right.
And because it's hard to keep track of it, to score it, to do all that. You'll usually see it separated. One of the old things that people always say is do your honor in the first series, because your dogs tend to be a little more under control in the first series. They get out of control as the weekend goes by.
Right.
So maybe do it in the first, but also they do it for management, because you'll have pros with 3, 4, 5 dogs that can't come up and run an honor in a row. So you want to try to have somebody run in between them. It's hard, to manage all that. So you got to think, how many pros do we have versus amateurs as you're setting it up from a judge's standpoint.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Time management, et cetera.
You mentioned too, choke chain or flat buckle collar.
No, I said no flat buckle collar.
Well, bring them up to the holding blind with a choke chain. You can do that, just to be sure, because people say, oh, in junior, you can't bring them up with a English style lead or the choke chain. Okay. Yes, you can. You can bring them up there, but you can't bring them out of that last holding blind to the line with it on.
Okay.
You have to convert it to, like, take the choke chain off, put it in your pocket, or you can have the choke chain. Use it as your lead. If that's your lead, nobody can say anything, but it's got to go through the collar and hold both ends of it. Okay, so it's not a choke chain anymore.
Right. So it's in junior, it's a flat collar, but she's saying you can walk up with a slip lead style to the last point, but
folded through your collar.
But once you go from the holding blind to the line and are the working dog, that's when it has to be either snapped to the collar or like looped through the collar. So you're holding the collar. Right.
Yep.
Senior, no collar, no lead, all off leash heeling from the last holding blind to the line.
Correct.
Walk up bird goes off, you're going to have a double. And again, you're going to most likely have a flyer. So the dog has to sit still, mark 2 birds, go get one, come back, go get the other. This is where we can digress a second. There's a couple things that those are automatic outs. A full tilt break is out. So if the judges haven't sent you yet and the dog leaves and you can't get the dog back, Fido here, boom, he's gone. He goes and gets the duck. You are out. In senior, you can have a controlled break. Can you describe what a controlled break is?
Sure. Control is the word here. So if your dog A creeps out, I don't even know how many feet to tell you, because it's all different depending on the scenario.
10 feet, yeah.
10 feet, 15 feet. There, as a judge, I'll always say to my co-judge, hey, see that little flower right there? What about if they get that far out? What do you want to call that? A control break? Sure. Okay. So 10 feet out to the door over here might be as far as you would let them go. In fact, that's a
That's
lot
probably
further
far,
than
yeah.
I would let them go. Um, at that point, if they're creeping that far out, and in senior, you can't talk to the dog unless you are calling them back on a control break.
Good point.
Call them back if they've either crept out too far where the judge is going to call that a break, and you get them back into control, you will be charged with a controlled break. Or if the dog out and out takes off, if you can get them back within that time or
Window.
10 feet or whatever window, then you can call that a controlled break. But the dog has to come back to you, and then the judge will say 23, and then you're sent. Control break is not halfway there. He's screaming bloody murder. No, 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 come. That's not a control break. That's a break. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's threatening.
Right. Right.
So that's very intimidating. And you could be out just for that.
Sure. So you can only have one controlled break. So if you have a controlled break on land, water, the dog has to be steady.
Yes. On the second series.
Correct.
Or on the other bird. So on your walk up, if you had to say sit to keep the dog steady after the bird is in the air and on the ground, if you have to say sit again, that's your control break.
Oh.
So you've got toot, he sits, the bird's in the air. I would give it when the bird is in the air, unless he's out of control beforehand.
Right.
Then you're really messed up. But in the air, toot or sit, then it hits the ground. You hear the call over here for your second bird. If the dog gets up and starts to go again and you say sit, that is a control break. But if you've already used it on your first one,
got you.
You're out. Then that would be considered
So you can't do it.
You've used your allotment.
Yeah. So I got you. So again, just to paint the picture, dog starts to go on the first mark. You are able to stop them. They come back, and then off goes the second one, and it starts to go again, and you stop them. That's two controlled breaks. You're
Right.
out. I got you.
Now you have a double mark here. Okay. So meaning a walk-up situation, there is a walk-up bird. Okay. Only on that walk-up bird are you allowed to steady the dog. It's not the walk-up test or situation. So you're coming out, you're walking up to the designated area. The bird comes out. You can give that whistle or steadiness with your voice.
Right.
But if you elect not to do it, some of my dogs are steady and master, and I don't need to give the sit. Then I turn to the next bird going down. If I didn't use it here, I can't save it.
Correct. Yeah.
For this bird. And that came up at a hunt test that we were judging.
Good point.
In Florida, that people thought that if you didn't use it here, you could save it.
I got spoken to once because when the walk-up bird goes off, I'm watching the dog. I'm not watching the bird. I'm peripheral vision watching the judges call for the bird, and I said sit. I mean, how I've done it for the last 10, 12 years. And they're like, you can't say, once the bird hit the ground, you can't say sit. I go, oh, okay. My bad. Bird was in the air. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But maybe on that scenario, the boom was late. And so I was late and the bird had hit the ground. I don't know. But the point is, it's got to be in the air. That's when you can say you're set for your walk-up bird. Move on. Go pick your other bird up.
But don't forget, if you were late with that, in senior, it's still acceptable, but you get a control break.
All right. Yeah.
So they should have let you go.
It might have been in a master.
Anyway,
yeah,
right?
It might have been a master.
In a master,
who
there's
knows?
no control break.
Right.
But you can utilize that one time anywhere.
Sure.
And let's not forget, you can also utilize it on the honor.
Right.
Okay. So imagine your little box that you're in an honor, where you would consider that a control break if the dog is just pitter-patting and not really going anywhere, but you're afraid it might. to give it a check down sort of, don't do that kind of thing, then say, sit one time, get your steadiness, and then he'll stop having you worry about breaking. But then you've used it.
Right.
Again, senior only.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Now let's get to one other thing though.
Okay.
Junior, you can talk to your dog.
Right.
So there is no controlled break. Talk to the dog. Use what you're able to do. So in junior, the bird's in the air and your dog's pitter-patting, you've got him on a lead anyway. Say sit.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's all within reason. So it can't be overly harsh. It can't be a correction sounding. It can't be intimidation.
Right.
Just sit down, sit. Good.
And
sit.
Judges that don't know some of these things, and I don't know how, but there are still some that don't know them. For God's sakes, don't argue with the judge at the line.
Yeah, no.
Because you know that is correct and they may be wrong.
You heard it here on the Lone D.
Don't argue with them.
No.
Bob.
Yeah, no, not a chance. So, all right. So we've got a double. We've got a flyer. We've got a walk-up bird. We've got an honor. And then you're going to have a blind that is supposed to be outside of the marks. What I mean by that is off to the, from noon to 3 o'clock is your marks. Then they're going to try and put your blind off at 9, 10 o'clock on, if that makes sense, right? It's supposed to not be influenced by.
Supposed to not be. And I have seen,
Sure.
If you have 2 marks here, I have seen a blind get planted right here.
Yeah.
It's outside the marks.
Right.
The spirit of the statement in the regulations is to keep a senior dog from having the marks influence the blind.
Right.
If you feel as a judge that you have to do that, I wonder what you're thinking. What is your idea of what a senior dog is? Most of those dogs are just understanding what a sit whistle is, what a back cast looks like, what an over looks like. And a lot of times you give an over, they're going back in the other direction.
Sure.
So,
and lastly, we totally digressed, but remember I said there were some complete, you are outs and one was a break.
Yes.
The other is returning to an old fall.
Oh boy, you could do a segment on returning to an old fall.
Right. So let's say 2 birds go down, dog goes and gets the first bird and does a great job. Comes back, goes out for the memory bird, puts on a little hunt and starts weaving through the field, hunting, makes his way over to the old fall of the other area, starts hunting the old fall. Obviously there's no bird there. You are out. You need to handle the dog.
If you do nothing. So yes.
Yeah, if you do nothing and it goes back to the old fall in senior and in master, you're out. So that point you would say, hey, I think he's not going to wind it. He's looking like he's fully committing to leaving it and going to the old fall, blow the whistle, handle him, and you have to handle to the bird. So you have to put on a heck of an effort to handle that dog all the way to the bird that hit the ground.
Now, not to the piece of grass that it's sitting next to, but right there within a 6-foot area.
Yeah, put him in that area.
Yeah, because don't forget, you're 100 yards away too.
Right.
Sometimes you know the bird is here, but it's really here.
Well, I call it boxing them in.
Yeah.
So you want to, if you're blowing that whistle to try and keep them in that area to smell that bird. But the point I'm trying to make is you can't just cast him over. He runs back to the area of the fall and then hunts for another 45 seconds.
Yeah. Not one cast to put him back over there.
Right.
Toot again, put him closer. Toot, 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 toot. There it is.
Yeah. You have to work them to the bird. So returning to the old fall, if you don't handle him, put him back on the bird, you're out. And a switch.
Okay. Returning to the old fall is literally that. Going back to that area of the fall. Now, switching
is different.
Is when a dog leaves. Now, I do so many seminars. It's something like leaves the area that he was hunting in.
Right.
which we're presuming is an area of a fall, another fall. Okay, so the dog takes off for the mark. Let's say it's senior. There's another mark over here. And let's say your wind is coming from right to left.
Yeah, sure.
He's hunting. He gets in there and doesn't quite come up with the bird. Well, the wind is coming hard off of that flyer station over here.
Sure.
And they've got bird crates and everything else. Hunting. He starts opening up a little bit of a hunt more towards that other mark. If I were you, I would waste the handle.
Yeah.
Because you're given a free handle. Okay. You can handle in a good way. If a dog is then all of a sudden getting a snoot full and taken off, you're not going to get a good handle out of that back to the area of where that original bird fell.
Right.
So if you watch your dog, which is, again, what amateurs sometimes have a hard time doing, watch your dog. His head, is he turned this way? His body, did he turn? His eyes. You can tell if a dog's eyes are looking towards a bird because their head kind of goes like this. You can see them doing different things even from the back. So if you see that dog opening up their hunt bigger towards the direction of the wind, it behooves you to toot, left over, put him on that bird. Come out of it with a handle, but guess what? You're still playing.
Right. So let's clarify this one more time. So we've got a double. Dog goes for the go bird, gets in the area of the fall and establishes a hunt.
Yep.
So it does a couple loops. It's in that area, doesn't find the bird and goes, oh yeah, there's a dude over there that threw me one. Phew. Beep, you have to handle. If you get caught watching the dog and not being a handler and it shoots over and picks up that other bird, it switched. It established a hunt.
Yep.
Now, gray area. Dog goes out halfway to the mark, the go bird, and then bangs a hard right and goes and picks up the other bird. You're still in. It did not establish a hunt.
It didn't establish a hunt in the area of the go bird.
Correct.
But it also, as a judge, you're being judged on initial line, not only just on blinds, but did the dog, you got your 2 marks again, okay? The dog goes into no man's land, hunts around, and then just beelines it over here because the wind is blowing. And that's not the go bird, all right? You didn't fail that.
No.
But that dog didn't pin that bird. If you would have turned him and sent him that way and he pinned it, that would be something different. But if you go for this one, end up in no man's land, sure, you're going to be able to come back, pick this bird up. If you pin it,
right, you're great.
You get, let's say, a 9 over here and a 6 or 7 over here.
Right.
Then that averages out to above a 7. You're good. Right.
But I guess that's
careful of that, though.
Sure. And also from a training perspective, those dogs should never be able to just like go to whatever one they feel like. But I've had clients that ran their own dogs that thought that was a switch. And so they started handling, got into a handling battle, and then had to end up handling on the other bird because it was just a cluster.
That's right.
Where if it never established a hunt, it just veered offline and then boom, went over and got the other one. Let that go. So it has to go to the area of the fall and establish a hunt on that bird and then decide, I didn't find it, screw it, I'm going elsewhere to get the other bird.
Running a dog is like a billiards table or a card game, okay? When do you know to draw another card? You don't unless you're experienced. Right. When do you know to hit the ball, the cue ball, the stick off the cue ball on the right side to make it spin a certain way, to hit that ball, to make it go the other way into the pocket? It's the same thing. It's playing your averages, but know where your wind is, guys, because so many times people have said to me, I can't believe that you let that dog hunt on the right side over there. I thought for sure he was going to go. I said, well, your wind is coming off of the bird that I was hunting. So I know mostly, you never know with dogs, but I knew my averages were there for the dog not to smell that bird that if he hunted and got where the wind was right, he was going to come back into this bird. So
Right.
I let him hunt.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what you have to know. Which way is the wind coming from? Then hit your whistle sooner if it's coming off the bird that you think he's fixing to switch to.
Yeah. That's another good point. You don't want to handle too soon and you don't want to handle too late. And a lot of that has to come down to knowing the dog.
Reading him.
Reading the dog, reading the situation. How far away is he getting? And can you reasonably, once they go into a crazy hunt mode, it's hard to check them down and sit them. I didn't lose the dog. He passed, but I was up in the air of like, I didn't think it was at the Finger Lakes test. I was like, I wouldn't have passed him. It was not a great handle.
Is that second series?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Series.
Yeah, he hooked behind a thing. He made one more loop. I should have stopped him on the first loop. I should have been a little quicker. It would have maintained control over the dog and put him back on the bird in a good mind frame instead of one loop, two loop. Oh, got to get him. He's starting to win the other bird. I got to get him out of there for a switch. All of a sudden, I'm in a bit of a handling battle.
And think about this too. That test, the reason I ask why, is call it the left bird and the middle bird were so close in proximity each fall,
right,
that they actually left the markers out in the field so you could see where your dog was hunting related to what the quote area of the fall is. Now we had hens and pheasants there. I mean, hens and drakes, and a big old drake is going to fall closer to the ribbon. We had some hen birds fall closer to that middle mark.
right.
So it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
And it's up to you. On the way out to that go bird, if you had a long throw on your left-hand bird, then sit the dog, cast him over, pick up that bird, then you don't get a switch.
Right. Yeah. So those are your automatic outs for senior and in master.
Yep.
I always have a hard time describing the discipline that the dog has to have on a blind, because you see some really poor sitting on a whistle. You see some really poor casts, and it's because the dogs are at an intermediate stage. And I think that there's the only way I can describe it, and how I would describe it to people, is if the dog is trying to be a team player and you're trying to maintain control and he's not 60 yards offline, if you're doing your best to keep him under control, they're doing their best to stay somewhat under control and work with you on the blind, you're going to be fine. If you go left and he goes right, if you've got him 30 yards offline, kind of near where the marks were, and you're battling over, probably out. So it's got to look like you're both starting to develop teamwork, and the dog understands the discipline of take a line, stop on a whistle, and cast.
And in senior, they're going to be forgiving more so than master.
Right. That's what I mean. It is forgiving. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it can't be 40 yards offline and give a big over on the downwind side and the dog hunts its way to the blind.
Would you hunt with that dog? Again, right. Bob brought it up before, but that's the whole thing. As a judge, would you hunt with that dog? That means that the dog didn't take all these sit whistles, that he didn't sit on, he disappeared behind a tree, then the guy had to call him in because he can't see him. Those are the kind of dogs that I'd say I wouldn't hunt with that dog.
Right.
So I'm less forgiving as a judge because I see that somebody didn't do their homework with that dog.
Right.
And all dogs can look like that
at
any given time.
100%.
The best school dogs one of my best school dogs broke in the first series. I couldn't believe it. I just stood there.
Yeah, that's wild.
So
that's you've got your walk. Just to recap: off lead, out of the holding blind to the line.
Yep.
At some point throughout the test, whether it's land or water, you're gonna have a walk up. You're gonna have an honor. You may have one controlled break. You're gonna have a double and a blind on land and water.
Yep.
And again,
a flyer.
A flyer.
And a diversion shot or bird thrown.
All right, let's talk about that because this coincides with master too. So a diversion shot and a diversion bird.
Okay, diversion shot can be timed, you know, again, you can time it anywhere, but the idea of it is that it means something. So let's say both birds are picked up on your marks, and then halfway back, bang, you hear a shot. That sets up your blind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what it could be used for. You could use a diversion shot when a dog is coming out of the holding blind, walking up to a walk-up situation. You can have it anywhere coming back on a mark that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Timed, however, I always think it should be timed in a way that means something, not just to fulfill the obligation of having a diversion shot. It's just like you wouldn't throw the diversion bird in a place that it meant nothing.
Right.
Okay. A lot of times people think that throwing a diversion bird is unfair. You don't see it that much. It is unfair in senior if it's thrown in line with where the dog's coming back, or in line or during a blind where the dog is going out on a blind in senior. To me, I think that's unfair.
They could do an en route diversion bird in senior.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that.
That's because most judges realize that it's not fair.
Yeah.
But not on a mark.
Right.
But realize the diversion bird has to be thrown in front of the dog. So it's for a reason. Diversion means to throw them off a little bit. So as the dog's coming back, you want it to come from here roughly. So the dog sees it coming back.
Right.
Not coming back, passes by, then it's thrown here where the dog doesn't have a chance to see it and mark it at all.
Correct.
But don't forget, it's not a scored mark.
Right. All right, so what she means by a scored mark is you can then handle on that. The dog the big thing is it cannot drop the bird that it has retrieved and go and pick that up.
Make a motion towards.
It can.
If he drops the bird, makes a step or two towards it, then that's out as well.
Okay.
So you got to practice it.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
That's a lot.
I do it a ton for every duck dog that goes home. They get a boatload of diversion birds because it just helps simulate real hunting too. If it's retrieving a bird and we've got one up, it's safe shot, it's up high, boom, knock it down and it lands over here. I still want that dog to deliver the bird they have. And the example I would give to people is if it's retrieving currently a crippled duck and it spits that crippled duck out to go get one over here, now that crippled duck could get away.
Yep.
So that's why they do the diversion bird.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Technically.
So yeah.
And I always, anybody that knows me knows we use this drill called the hallway drill, where I put the stakes up. Anybody that's been to the seminars or trains with me knows what they are. I get pictures of people all the time, proud they're setting up their drills. But that isn't just that way to keep a dog sitting within the poles. It is. But it's also when a dog is coming back with their bird on that drill or any T pattern even, take your bird and throw it back into your pile. It doesn't take you any longer, and you're showing the dog a diversion look without creating the huge drive to go get it.
Right.
They're getting used to seeing a bird thrown over their head on the way back with a retrieve.
Yeah.
So you're desensitizing them to it.
That's a great point. Great point. All right. I think we hit senior well. Now master. So you're going to have everything that we did for senior. Walk up, honor. There are no controlled breaks. 0.
Right. That's why there's a lot of creeping.
Yep.
Typically.
So let's not get into the creeping just yet. So you got your walk up, your honor, a diversion shot or a diversion bird. Let's talk about the scenarios where what we have to have. A triple, a double blind, a land series, a water series, a land water series. Kind of describe that to folks.
And a diversion.
Yep.
So a triple means a bird that is thrown while the dog is at the point of origin, or, the line, we call it. In the old Nara days, it was called the point of origin. So you're at the line. The dog has to see the mark from that position. That's called a mark that you can be judged on the proficiency level of that performance. A diversion is when, let's say you have a double, dog goes out and gets one of them or both of them. On the way back from one of them, you throw this diversion bird. In master, oh well, if it falls in line,
Sure.
I mean,
but that's not considered a triple.
That is not considered a triple.
That's a double with a diversion bird.
So that's what I wanted to make clear.
Yeah.
The bird has to be seen from the initial set of marks going out. So if you have a double that the dog sees at the line, that's a double, then with a diversion. So that's not counted as a triple.
Right.
The dog is not scored on the diversion unless the dog is out of control.
Okay.
So you can handle, as long as you're making progress. If the dog isn't sitting, dog isn't casting, he's out of control, then he's being dropped for trainability, not on marking there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So realize that you can get dropped on a diversion bird if you can't find it.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
So we have a land series, water series, and a land to water series.
Correct.
So it's a combination. They can have water first. They can have land water first. It doesn't matter. Typically, you're going to see land first for time management because you've got the most amount of dogs, so they're going to try and knock out land.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the blinds. So you need a double blind.
Yes.
In one series, and then the other. Now I'm drawing a blank on my question.
What you need to fulfill your blinds.
Right. Thank you.
So you have to have 3 blinds, one of which has to be a double blind.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Basically how that goes. So you'll see in a series either a double, they call it a double-double, a double with 2 blinds, or a triple with 2 blinds. Mm-hmm. And that series. Then you'll have either a double with a single blind or a triple with a single blind, depending on what you need. Sometimes in the 3rd series, you might get a double for time restraints, mm-hmm. and then you'll need a discipline to add to it. You can't just do a double. So if you have a blind left over, double in a blind. Mm-hmm. But you have to have 2 sets of triple marks in
at a minimum.
Or in master, I mean.
And
at a minimum.
Right. So you still could get a triple in the 3rd.
Sure.
Oftentimes you do.
Oftentimes. Yep.
Yeah.
If there's time restraints, sometimes they'll drop it and do a double and add something else. But then the people who handled in the 1st and 2nd series typically would be not called back to the 3rd because they were not able to have a clean triple.
Right. So let's talk about that gray area rule.
Okay.
And the definition in your mind as an AKC rep of 1st series, I had a handle. So I've had to handle on one of my marks. Go to the 2nd series and it's another triple. We don't know what the 3rd series is going to be. Mm-hmm. Do you feel confident to then handle, or do you feel like you got to hang on tight and let them hunt?
Well, again, it's all a billiards table.
Sure.
What do you do to get out of there looking the best? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to make a decision in less than 1 second,
right? Whether
you should blow that whistle or not. So know it going into the series. Do I feel like I have a whistle to give, mm-hmm. a handle to give? If you feel that you don't, then take your time lining that dog up. Mm-hmm. Take your time with the marks going down. Make sure the dog sees each one. If you have to turn your body a little bit for the dog to catch the last part of that bird going down, then do it.
Right.
You can't touch the dog. You can't even, do this to turn its head. You can't really even go like this to turn the dog's head. The dog has to see what he sees,
right.
But you can turn making that area that he sees smaller or bigger,
right,
to turn him one way or the other. But
right.
You got to practice that also.
100%.
But in a triple, the best thing to do is let the dog mark, having the dog turn initially towards the last bird down more so than the first bird down. Because if you don't, then you're permitting the dog to move around on the line. I don't allow my dogs to move.
No.
So I will sit the dog down, either square up the middle or a little more towards the last bird down. And I'll go first bird down. If it's far right, I'll step back, clearing this whole right-hand area so the dog can turn their head and see this way. Then the middle bird goes down. I step forward, giving just enough for them to see this. Then I step forward more, almost to the dog's head. So then my dog naturally turns their head, not their body, towards the go bird.
Yep.
But then when they do that, you've already consciously faced that dog more so that way. Because the last thing you want to have to do when you hear your number or dog is to have to go, once the judge has released you, you can say sit, you can say heel, anything you want. You can reposition your dog. But the more talking you do and repositioning you do, the less memory you are creating.
Yeah.
If that dog is facing that mark, ready to go, showing you by that kind of posture, if you line them or don't, it's up to you. You kick that dog off and he hasn't taken his eye off that go bird, your chances of your memory being 100% for that go bird is very high.
Yeah.
But if you have to turn him, if he is somehow turned back to the flyer and it was an out of order flyer, meaning it was shot first or second, you got to turn him back somehow, then you're diminishing memory as you go.
Yeah. I still would say take your time on that, though. Like, I'm not going to let my dog come off cockeyed. I'd rather reposition to have them straight at it than kick them loose and have them go, wow.
Yeah. But that's why I was saying
the way to position,
training, how to train them. And again, we go back to training. Everything goes back to training. What's taught there is for them not to move. Because if they don't move, I can walk around them because he's not scooching forward like you see dogs do so much. I walk around them, block off that middle bird, and automatically the dog thinks go here to the go bird.
Yeah.
So again, all in training, all in what the dog expects you to do and be managed, how you manage them.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about actual control on the blinds.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's another area where you go quick from a senior dog and get your senior title and jump into master soon and then get dropped because of poor blind running skills or having to handle on a mark and it goes to crap. You know, what are like, you can't say there isn't a rule of like, if you get 2 cash refusals, you're out, or 5 cash refusals, you're out. But like, what does it look like in your mind when you're watching a dog work that equals a master level blind and what should be dropped? Not always that it does get dropped, but we look at it and go, that should not have happened. That pass should not have happened.
Very first thing is control. A blind is manual transmission. A mark is auto transmission. So if you think of it that way, you have to shift a gear in order for that dog to take that blind, to run the blind in the line that you want it to go in. So unless you shift into second, you're not going to go faster. Unless you shift the dog and teach him that you are in control, then he is going to be out of control and out of the area. So in master, you line the dog, take your time. If the dog understands how to run a blind, he's looking at where you're lining him. Some people don't put their hand down, or this is something that I've wanted to say for a long time. Some people, if you've got the dog's head and it's here, and I have my hand here, where are the dog's eyes? They're here.
Right.
So I'm lining the dog on the blind. Why do I even put my hand down?
If it's behind the head.
For looks?
Right.
Maybe. Do you realize most people watch the next person in a hunt test run a blind? So they've got the hand here. The dog's eyes could be anywhere. The reason that you line a dog is because you have your hand there and it's like sights on a gun. Why is that last sight on a rifle or a shotgun way down on the end? Because that's the last thing you see. So it's the same thing for a dog. He's looking here. You line the last things, which are his eyes, to where he wants to go. All right. If the dog isn't trained that way, then fine. Let him go towards where his head is. It's how you've trained him.
Right.
But the initial line on a blind and master carries as much weight as the middle or the end to me. If they take off and they go over here towards where the mark was, and you don't immediately stop them, then you have created a poor initial line situation. The dog goes way over here. You watched him. You didn't sit him. Then you have to toot. Maybe he doesn't want to sit now.
Right.
If you do get him to sit, what cast are you giving him?
And a hard over.
A hard over. What does a dog want to do when you give an over, especially when you give a verbal? Back.
Dig. Yeah, dig.
You teach them in your T patterns or your hallway drills to dig back no matter what. When you're given an over, they are taught to dig an angle back. When you want to get an over that looks this way, you either want to get your hand down or toot, 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 and then over to get them to actually take that over. So now you've created a situation where you've got to toot, 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 over, communicate to the dog, or else you're gone.
Right.
And that's why your poor initial line is so important, or good initial line is so important.
Right.
So you're keeping that good initial line. You've taken probably half of your blind and completed it properly that way.
Right.
All right. So you get into your second part of it. The dog's out there in the middle. It starts to veer off somewhere. Hit it immediately.
Yeah.
So look at that as dropping a plumb line in construction. You hit the plumb line, you get that blue line, and it goes all the way on out there. Or a winch, okay? And you have to pull your four-wheeler towards that with your winch. You go straight to it. That's what a good blind score is. Mm-hmm. So if you get anything off that line, blow your whistle. And old school standards, this goes back to before there were any hunt tests or anything. They want to see you work that line. Mm-hmm. Back and forth, staying on that line, not just running next to it, going all the way down, stopping the dog if you know you're downwind, stopping the dog and giving it a big over. Mm-hmm. That's not running the line to the blind. And you'll hear a judge tell you, I want you to hold the line to the blind. Be aggressive. Try.
Yeah.
If you don't try and you give one whistle, but that's because the dog ran down the left side, you stopped him, gave him an over where it's in a downwind situation and he takes it right to the bird.
Yeah.
That's not running the blind. You're going to get a poorer score on the line. You have to work at holding that line. And then if you have a cast refusal that you can stop them right away, right. To me, I'm giving that guy a better score than the one that lets him run all the way down there and gives him that last. It not only kind of looks lazy, it looks like the dog won't cast for you.
Right.
So you didn't do it. And there's a lot of people that say, well, it's not that far offline. And I don't understand why my dog was dropped on that blind. I lined it.
Yeah, no.
So when you line a blind, it doesn't look like this going out. That's not lining a blind, even though the dog didn't have a whistle or cast anywhere.
Right.
It's this that is lining the blind.
I think one of the things you hit a second ago about a cast refusal and you go immediately hit the whistle. I think that got glossed over way too fast. I see that be one of the biggest downfalls of people's ability to pass a test is inadvertently allowing a poor cast to be carried longer than it should be.
Longer than it should be, meaning at all.
At all. but I mean, 5 strides of the dog is too long. If I give an angle back left and it turns to the left and then scallops back into its right, beep. I mean, I'm not letting that sucker take 2 steps.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody that counts window panes in people's houses as I'm driving by, you know, I'm a little neurotic. So if I'm not online, I'm stopping them. And that's exactly why, and this has opened up a whole nother can of worms, I don't teach overs to my dogs. I'm successful at Master Nationals. We qualify every weekend. But the reason I don't teach overs after we do 3-handed casting, I don't want them to know that they can get way over here and then I can correct them and get them back. So what Bob is saying is, as soon as my dog gets off this line, right there, I'm giving a whistle, because then I can still give that straight up back cast or just a slight step left with the back cast. They're still on line and I'm just tweaking that line.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
That's what a judge wants you to show them, not lining it, keeping them on the line.
Right. But I guess my thought is, I've seen too many people get caught watching the dog run the blind, and the dog builds too much momentum in the wrong direction because they're slow to blow the whistle again. And all of a sudden the momentum is in the wrong direction of the blind, and the dog just continuously is allowed more latitude, literal latitude, than they should. And then it's impossible to get them back to where you need them to be.
And let's not forget the new rule.
Okay.
Where you cannot, on a blind or a mark, take that dog and reset it. So if you've got that situation where you got the blind here, here's your line, like where my leg is. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay. The dog gets over here because you're slow on your whistle. You're trying to give them overs. Okay. All you have is overs now. Okay. You never would want to give any kind of a back to get the dog to that blind.
Right.
You cannot call the dog back into you. That is training.
Okay.
Okay.
So
in a master test,
that's a hard and fast rule now.
You are going to be judged down considerably for resetting the dog, unless it gets out there and gets behind a tree or a bush, and you just have to go toot, 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 toot in order to see it again, then give it the cast you need to give it.
Right.
Or if it gets past the blind,
right,
because you
overran it.
Depth perception maybe didn't sit him quick enough, toot, 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 pick up the bird.
Right. Yeah, that's my understanding as well. You can't call them in with your whistle or a verbal here to reset them and then get your cast.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you want to be fast?
Exactly.
So immediately, if you have the dog going out, he's veering off to the right, and you stop him and you give him that left back, but he immediately shows you he's stepping right.
Yeah.
Why do you give the cast anyway?
Yeah.
Then he shows you that. Don't give the cast. Take a little step yourself to the left, then throw that hand up slow so the dog sees it. Then they're going to tend to go.
Yeah.
It's finesse from the handler.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, stop him immediately, because you know already he wants to go that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as you progress through junior to senior to master, the level of quality handling that the person has to do significantly increases the likelihood of passing the dog.
Yep.
So getting caught watching, being slow on your whistle, being overly nervous and not in the moment and focused on the moment, not paying attention to the wind.
Yep.
Yeah. You said wind 3 or 4 times in the last 2 hours.
I could say it 10 times.
Watching other dogs. Where are the other dogs winding the bird when they get down, into the field? Because that wind at our line could be left to right, but out there it's swirling because of a bunch of trees, and all of a sudden they're winding it on the side you wouldn't really think that they would have.
And it changes.
Yes.
So again, look at the hunt test at Finger Lakes. One day the wind was all coming this way, and then the next day this, and then during the next day it was doing both ways.
Right.
But that's why when you're standing in the holding blind,
you're paying attention.
Take that time. You're not sitting there just staring at your dog and kissing him on the lips. You're out there watching, what that dog in front of you is doing, because chances are that's what the wind is doing at the time that you will come up.
Right. Now, another piece of advice for the handler is you have a zone. The judges are going to give you a window of where you can run, where your line is. They may have 2 markers. They may have 2 decoys. They may say you can move from here to here, but you can't move forward.
Okay.
I'm going to use every inch of it. I'm going to look at it when I watch the test dog run, and then I'm going to look at it. Immediately, I kick my dog. Well, I'm walking up. I'm going to immediately assess the situation as I'm walking up to the line. If I'm dog 40, there's going to be 39 other tracks that dogs have taken. There's going to be patches of taller grass that could push that dog offline on the wrong side of the wind. And if I shift 1.5 feet to the right, it opens that gap up, and now it can take a better line. So I use that entire line that they give me to put that dog in a position. So I may pick up mark 1 from this spot, mark 2 from this spot, mark 3 from this spot, run the blind from over here, run the other blind from over there.
Yeah.
And it's all within a 2-foot span, 3-foot span.
And how you go on your walk up also.
Oh, yeah.
You know, most of the times they say, okay, I want you to walk towards
that bush.
Yeah. Okay. You can walk towards that bush, but how you come out of your holding blind dictates where you go to get towards that bush.
That's right.
So if it's more advantageous, unless the judge says no, more advantageous to come out the left side, so you have, say, a straight line to that mark. Sometimes you don't want a straight line.
No, I'd rather it loop out to look at more.
We had a double in the last series that were from here to, one of them was from here to the door.
Oof.
It was a huge, in master now, a huge breaking test. Handlers dictated whether their dog was going to break or not. So on that, I came out and walked left for a long way. I didn't just come straight out of the holding blind like this. I went this way and then straight down, so that when that bird went off, that I blew my whistle, which I never do, but for the dog to go, what? She's blowing a whistle. Oh boy,
right.
That's more serious. Then once they sit, I walked my body around the dog. You can do those things.
Yeah.
So when I walked my body around, it was almost threatening to that dog that could have broken on the second one. They saw me.
Mm-hmm.
I kept every dog from breaking that way, or from even scooting forward.
Sure.
So it's what you do with the dog and how you manage it and handle it that makes a difference in how they're going to run.
Yeah.
You mentioned cover. Always find a spot. There could be sun coming in off of your first mark if you're running first thing in the morning. There could be a tree right there that gave you enough shade where the dog could see that mark really well. Set up in the shade of that tree for your first mark. Then you can turn the dog for the other marks, so that the sun doesn't affect that mark. There's so many things that you can do to increase your odds.
Yeah, totally agree. There was another piece I was going to say about being a good handler. And I think it really, as I'm racking my brain, but it really kind of comes down to taking the time to watch other dogs, taking the deep breath. Oh, I remember now. Composure after you get your go bird. You're in the driver's seat, baby. I like my dogs to come in and heel with the bird in their mouth, and I'm already lined up for my next bird where I want to be on my line. I make them look out for that bird with the bird in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I then take the bird, and then I let their breathing come down as I lock them in, and they refocus on where they need to go. So they've refocused with the bird in their mouth. They've calmed their breathing down. Once I take the bird, they're locked back in. I communicate with them with how I communicate, but it'd be a good right there. Good, set, good. Kick them loose. But it's not 20 seconds. But it's not take the bird, send them.
I watched somebody do that in a hunt test this weekend.
Yeah, take the bird and say the name.
We're not hunting. Don't forget that. If you're hunting, take that bird, let him run out there. As long as he's bringing the chickens back, nobody's got a pencil and a pad, and they're not judging you there. the control factor when you're hunting, all of that. You let go out the window a little bit. This is all about control and how you manage it. And the dog feels it. If you go, oh, I'm not nervous, and the dog's jumping all over the place, and you just send the dog with no thought, hey, this goes back to, I'm going to put a real hard hit on somebody we both know and absolutely love.
Yeah.
There might have been a person I knew one time that was so jealous of the fact that all of his friends had master dogs that he had to go and get that last pass, and he threw the bird up with the bird in his left hand. He threw it up and sent the dog.
I don't remember that. You'll have to say it after.
Somebody that whose name starts with a Rick. I'm not going to say their last name.
All right.
But that's nerves.
Sure.
You know, and he'll agree.
Yeah.
That was nerves. He took the bird, and instead of lining the dog with that hand and having the bird here, he left it in this hand, threw the bird up, and lined the dog with it. And the dog turned around and went, what?
Right.
So what is that, nerves?
Yeah, just nervous.
Hey, I've never seen him do it since. I've never seen anybody do something like that in training.
Sure.
But you do that stuff in a test when you don't let your nerves calm down.
Yeah. The dogs can feel it.
Take your time.
Big time. I think that's one of the bigger ones. Take your time at the line. Take your time lining up for the memory birds. Take your time lining up for the blind, within reason, right? But take your time, feel good, feel confident, and the dog will feed off of that and will remember and take its time remembering, and you'll be way more successful.
Yep.
Don't take your time when it's offline and running a crappy blind, and don't take your time when it's fully committing to switch or return to an old fall.
Well,
that one I'd be
when I
medium
say take
quick.
my time,
Yeah.
I mean lining the dog up. When the dog is next to you, always take an inordinate amount of time.
Yeah.
And if they say, come on, man, you got to go, then make it a little faster. But they're never going to say that to you. If you're making progress, getting the dog to look out,
right,
take your time. And it calms you down too.
Sure. All right, let's real quick. We'll start wrapping this up. Automatic failures at a master test.
Break. Talking to your dog, which is a break. Something else that we didn't cover is on an honor. If you make for yourself this little box you're in for your honor. I lay my dogs down. That's something totally different, because that way they know if they're down, they're never going to get a mark.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lay your dog down and it sits up, at least you have that one level to go through before they can go.
Right. But
you've got this box that you know you shouldn't go further than on an honor. If the dog is creeping up there, pitter pat, he's getting further up there and you think he might go, and you go, heel, call him back to you, that is a controlled break.
Okay.
And in master, there is no controlled break. It's a controlled break in senior as well, but you're allowed a controlled break.
Okay.
So if he has that somewhat momentum and you stop it and call that dog back to you, that is a break in master.
Okay. How would you combat that? So it's just, it's just scooching forward, just sit, and it makes no more forward momentum. And what
you hope it doesn't?
Right. But let's say it doesn't make any more forward momentum, or goes, oh crap, I am not where I should be, and scooches back. So if you could say sit, you're okay, but you can't say heel or heel?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you say nothing and the dog scooches out a little, but then comes back on his own, but you haven't said anything, that's fine.
That's fine too.
That's good morals.
But you could say sit, and it doesn't make forward progress anymore, and it comes back to you and all that, and you just say sit, you're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What I do with mine, even though they're laying down, let's say I had a dog sitting and I see them start to give me one of these. I'm thinking about something. They haven't even moved yet. I'm saying sit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. He hasn't moved.
Yeah.
So tell him in my obedience classes and to all my clients, I say, give them correction for their thoughts. Okay? Not their actions, because then they've already done it and you're punishing them for their actions when you could correct and get a correction for a thought. Then if they're not thinking it anymore because you've corrected the thought, they're never going to creep or they're never going to break.
So what I do is I'll time it every instance that a dog would want to break. First bird goes off, or maybe it's not even a walk up, but quack, 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 sit.
Yeah.
Boom, sit.
Yeah.
Bird hits the ground, sit. Next, quack, 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 sit. Boom, sit. Ducks in the air, sit. Next bird, sit. And so I'm just in their head, and you do it quietly. Sit, sit.
Yep.
Sit. And it's at each instance that they would maybe be triggered to not sit. So you're just in the back of their head, preemptively, quietly talking to them.
And getting their head back to you.
Sure.
You're just kind of calling them back into your universe.
Yeah. Another piece of advice for senior and master level dogs on the honor. This is another thing that I preach to all my clients. When I heel the dog off of the line and they say, honor dog, you're released, I whip them around the opposite direction of where the marks are. So for an example, if the marks are to my left, my dog is on my left, and I need to exit to my right, I'm not going to spin and just turn to my right shoulder. I'm going to do a tight circle and have him spin into a heel, and then I will exit away.
But have you practiced that?
Every single day, every single time.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, every single time. But if you practice it every single time, you're never going to have that opportunity where I say heel and I walk off and the dog moves. In the test is never going to go that way. I'm always going to block him with my body and spin away
and
from the test.
And don't forget, you've been released, but you're still under judgment until you get back behind the judges / tent area and all that. So if your dog on the honor takes off there and grabs a bird off the dryer, you're out.
Right.
Because the dog's out of control. And this is master.
Yeah.
Master insinuates a totally complete finished dog.
Yeah.
Not out of control. Yeah. So demonstrate it. The more you demonstrate those looks to the judge, like I said before, it's like a horse show. They only see what you let them see. Let them see proficiency in every level. Yeah. And then they kind of think, oh, that guy has good dogs because you show them that. Yeah. You prove it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So automatic outs, we talked about braking, the control brake on the honor. We already talked about it in senior, but it's switching, returning to old falls.
Out of control on handling, like to a mark. The guy lets the dog have this gorilla hunt, which now, if your dog is not making progress on his hunt, a judge is supposed to have in their mind a level where that's it. These gorilla hunts should not happen anymore, where not just long hunts in the area, but get out of the area, hunt all back in here, not where he's going to switch,
right?
But back in an area that means nothing, then come back around and just happen to make a routine run through there and there's the bird. Right. That's not a mark. Right. That's not marking. Okay.
It's a great point. I've always hated that. Watching dogs just flounder around willy-nilly and then, I winded it. Go out for the next one, run 100 yards past it, hunt 100 yards deep of it, work their way in, and all of a sudden, a minute later, 2 minutes later, they find it.
When I first came up in this game, it was called out of control. If you were too far back there behind a hill, dog was out of sight even, behind a tree or bushes, the judge would say, get your dog under control. That means you're out.
Yeah.
And it means you're out of control. This is master. Pick your dog up.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be.
Yeah. This will be my opinion. I think we need to tighten things down in the master tests and have less dogs pass. and it's not because I want people to fail. It's not because I want to fail. It's not because I want it to be harder. I just want to see good dog work, and that's it. I don't want to see dogs that like just not. I'll say me, but I don't. If I watch a really great dog, hammer the marks, hammer the blinds, great obedience, just having fun and crushing it, and then I watch a dog wallow out there on a crappy blind and blow off whistles, and they blow 7 whistles and it finally sits, and then it's 30 yards offline now, and it's looking around, and then it wanders in the semi direction it handled to, and then takes 4 more whistles to sit. I've seen that stuff pass. It degrades what it means to actually be a master dog, and those are the things that it's hard for a judge. I wouldn't want to have to drop dogs, but that's what you signed up for the weekend.
But what about integrity in your life?
Huge.
So we're talking about a hunt test that most of the world doesn't have any idea that we do.
Right.
But you're out there judging, and you do sign a piece of paper when you judge that says that you will uphold the regulations of the American Kennel Club.
Right.
You sign that you will do that.
Right.
And anybody that lets a dog go through with 2 handles on a series, what Bob just said, out of control, out of the area, all that kind of stuff. You're watering down our master hunter title.
That's what I mean. I want it to mean more, and have the test be challenging, and have it be a 40% of the dogs pass. You take 66 dogs, you should have 26 that get the ribbon, not 50.
But realize AKC has never established, 50% is what we want to see.
No, yeah.
Because you could have a hunt test that is the last one before Master Nationals that you and I are running, and we both are taking 12, 15 dogs to Master Nationals. Well, we got 30 of those dogs. Should those 30 technically pass that hunt test, that weekend test?
Yeah.
Should they? Yes.
Yeah.
So we're increasing the percentages. There might be 70% of dogs pass that weekend.
No, I know.
We're talking
But I'm
about
talking
an
about dog
average weekend.
I'm talking about an average dog work weekend where you're watching Fido wallow around and pass.
Yeah.
And then another dog wallow around and pass. And there's 15 of them that shouldn't have, but did, because these judges are nice people, and, they brought all the birds back, and, it did have a good first series, and, all right, well, I get it, but it waters it down. And that's my only opinion. It's not a percentage, because to your point, there could be 40 hammers or 60 hammers, and so 60 pass. Great. I would love that, but I want to watch 60 hammers.
That's the whole idea of a hunt test.
Right.
Is you are not finding a winner.
Right.
Okay. So technically, I can do a superb job, get a ribbon. You can have a dog that does an average Joe job and still get a ribbon,
right,
because it's above the 7
right,
that you're looking for in the end.
Correct.
Which means 70%.
Right. Which is like my high school career. And look at me now, everyone.
See, nobody said dog trainers were smart.
No. God, no.
Nobody works for $1 an hour.
Yeah.
For real.
But I think it still comes down to that average dog still has to be master level quality. And master level quality is it sits when you blow a whistle. It takes a good cast, not a perfect cast, but a good cast. It works with you, and it marks triples well.
That's why you have 3 series.
Right.
And any judge that puts a dog out for one thing. Now, a break is one thing.
Sure.
But I'm talking in the field, a dog had a little bit of a rough handle, but basically sat on every whistle, listened to the cast, but it took him, 6 casts to get there as opposed to 2. It was a little rough, but he did it. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I've had my dogs do that in hunting. It wasn't out of control or anything.
Right.
I would still hunt with that dog.
Sure.
There's the dog that pinned it and the dog that took 6 whistles. Both of them can get a ribbon.
Correct.
Because that dog that took 6 whistles still has 2 more series to run. So if you get an overall 4 on your first marking series, or a 5, let's say, an overall 5, then you can be carried and make it up. If you
Right.
make it up each series, you can get an overall 7.
Exactly.
That's what's great about this game.
True. Yeah, and I'm all for that too. I'm not saying those are like, you should be able to save yourself. There's still time.
Mm-hmm. But you don't need it to be given away.
You don't need it to be given away. And if you watch 2 series of wallowing around, I've seen enough.
Yep.
And just go train hard.
And it's up
that's
to
okay.
the judge to say, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not be rude, pick them up, you
Yeah.
know, but say, hey, I'm sorry.
Just
Walk
wasn't the
up, put
weekend.
your hand on his shoulder, him or her, and say, I'm sorry, man. You know, he's not having a great weekend.
Yeah. I've
We're
had
not
it happen
gonna
to me.
let you play any longer.
Yeah. It sucks.
But be nice. I mean, anymore people are so rude and so.
So
I mean,
just
be
to tell you a
nice.
funny story, I was at the field trial, I don't know, last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and Lizzie's pounding it. I mean, I'm so proud of her. And then she goes out perfect line to the flyer and is about 70 yards short on a 425-yard mark. She's 75. She's so close, and she's just not going to get it. And he, I don't know, he let her try for 30 seconds or whatever. And he came up to me and goes, in the radio, in my ear, he goes, can you guys come out and help this dog, please? I was like,
Oh, but that's actually an interesting way to do it.
yeah, he was nice. It was fine.
He
But
said, please.
yeah, he's like, can you guys just please help this dog?
As you fall in a
Yeah.
clump.
I'm like,
Oh, God.
sweet baby.
But there's all ways to say
Oh,
it.
yeah, it was fine.
Back to that issue of judges giving tests away.
Yeah.
There are some judges out there that pride themselves on being the ones that judge every weekend. People want to run under them because they give it away.
Yeah. It's just
But
not right.
there's one thing being lenient, being understanding, all that.
Being there for the dogs, all those things are right. And you hear him say
A
that.
lot to do with you as a judge and your integrity.
Right.
What do you think you're showing as your integrity?
Right.
I
think it comes, so I've heard it all, right? I'm here for the dogs. I want the dogs to be successful. Or something to the effect of like, these people spend their weekends and hard-earned money to get here. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. But at the end of the day, there's a standard of the AKC, and it should be upheld so that the title isn't watered down and it's well earned. And I feel like I'd rather see Sally Sue or Jim Bob bring their dog and have 8 attempts at master or 9 or 10 attempts at master and pass than go 6 for 6 and the dog's dog doo-doo.
Okay, so you've got that 6 for 6 dog that was given a whole bunch of breaks. Now the guy says,
let's go to Master National.
I got a Master National invitation. Do you know how many one and dones there are at Master Nationals because of this?
Like, you mean they try it once and then they don't go back?
No, it means that they get to the first series and break on the first bird out, or can't get through the first series, or go to the first and it's rough. They carry them and then they go out in the second series. They don't even know why.
Right.
Because they haven't been shown what real master material is.
Yeah.
And if you pass, there's areas of this country, just saying, I know through statistics that you can get by with a lot. I can tell you up north here, you are not seeing that. This past weekend at Finger Lakes, 2-3 weekends ago when we ran, they hold you to a standard. It's admirable. Judges that do that are creating high-level dogs that compete at Master Nationals successfully. Yeah,
awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I think we've covered a ton in the last 2 hours and 10 minutes, my friend.
Yeah, there is something.
Yeah, hit it.
On my shirts, I have Pros Dogs Lives Matter. I'm a pro. I'm a rep. I understand things that go on with pros. I understand things that go on with amateurs. I know people do things in tests. I know they set up things. I know there's times when judges have been told what tests to set up, and they do it. It's not just pros. It's not just amateurs, but we all need each other here. Pros need amateurs. I need my clients. But think about this. What are pros' dogs? Okay. When I say pros' dogs' lives matter, they're somebody's amateur dog.
Yeah.
My dogs that I am running, unless they're mine, belong to that Billy Bob
Right.
or Sally Sue. And so you're saying my dogs should be judged at a higher standard, but it's really owned by the guy down the road that is paying you to train their dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your dog. So when you're a pro, you're not running your own dogs. They belong to someone. Yeah. People have to realize that and understand that just because they're with us doesn't mean those dogs aren't loved by somebody that is paying to have them trained because they can't, they work, they're handicapped, whatever it may be.
Sure.
So realize the situation of whose pros dogs are, and also demand that pros be pro-like. Act like a pro when you're a pro. Treat your dogs in that manner. For God's sakes, wash your truck before you go to a hunt test.
Mm-hmm.
Let people see how the dogs on your truck are managed. If your truck is washed on the outside, I guarantee you the insides of the boxes have been washed.
Yeah.
You know, it's how you are perceived as a pro. Do you help? You go to hunt test and you gun. He's running 12 dogs, let's just say, but after he runs, he's overshooting or helping take down the hunt test at the end when he doesn't have to manage his dogs. Mm-hmm. And he's got somebody helping air his dogs. I see you at every hunt test. Help pick up. If you can't shoot, you're picking up, you're help setting up, all of that.
Yeah.
So as pros, we have to have people see us be normal people.
Yeah.
And don't say, I'm bringing 20 dogs to your hunt test. I've already helped you. I'm paying for my entries, make your test.
Yeah.
Don't have that.
Nah, there's jerks in every industry. And I think it comes down to the word you use is integrity. Big one in our family.
Makes us look bad.
It makes everybody look bad. So just carry yourself well, treat people fairly and politely, and enjoy being there. We're supposed to be there to have fun for everybody across the board. Everybody's there to try and have a good time, take day off from work or family and go be there. So why make it crappy for them? Let it rip.
Yep.
All right, Trish. Thank you so much. Everyone who tuned into this episode and all our episodes, I want to say thank you so much. If you're still listening and not watching, please head over to YouTube, check out the new studio. You can, she's kind of diagramming with the blinds and all this. Like, watch it. We appreciate it.
You can watch my headphones fall off in my lap halfway through.
That's all right. So just check out the YouTube. Appreciate it. And everyone who tunes in, I want to say thank you again. And Trish, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your day.
Yeah.
I know we got to go train some dogs now. So.
Yep. Go train dogs, everybody.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.